Hi, welcome to Fiction Fingers Fairy Channel. Please subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories, and don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you. During her time at college, Suzy constantly missed Willy. She often asked Rachel to send pictures and videos of him, longing to see his smiling face. "Please send me more pictures of Willy, Rachel. I miss him so much," Suzy would request, her voice filled with longing. Rachel understood Suzy's feelings and made sure to regularly send updates about Willy. "Here's a new video of Willy playing in the park," Rachel would say during their video calls, her heart swelling with affection for both Suzy and Willy. Despite the distance, Suzy found solace in these virtual connections with Willy. "Thank you for always keeping me updated about Willy, Rachel. It means the world to me," Suzy would express, her gratitude evident in her voice. During semester breaks, Suzy eagerly looked forward to returning home to Rachel and Brian's house. "I can't wait to see Willy again," she would say with excitement, counting down the days until she could be reunited with him. Upon her return, Suzy cherished every moment spent with Willy, showering him with love and affection. "You've grown so much since I last saw you, Willy," Suzy would exclaim, her heart overflowing with joy at being able to spend time with him. As they spent time together, Suzy and Willy formed a special bond, one that transcended the boundaries of time and distance. "I miss you when I'm away at college, Willy," Suzy would confess, her voice filled with affection as she hugged him tightly. Willy, too young to fully understand the concept of distance, would simply smile and nod. After 4 years of hard work, Suzy finally graduated from college. Rachel, Brian, and Willy attended Suzy's graduation ceremony, beaming with pride as they watched her walk across the stage to receive her diploma. "Congratulations, Suzy, we're so proud of you," Rachel exclaimed, her voice filled with genuine joy. Suzy's heart swelled with gratitude as she hugged Rachel and Brian tightly. "Thank you for everything, Rachel, Brian. I couldn't have done it without your support," she said, her eyes shining with emotion. During the ceremony, Willy sat on Brian's lap, clapping enthusiastically as Suzy's name was called. After the ceremony, they took pictures together to commemorate the special occasion. "Let's capture this moment," Rachel suggested, her camera ready to capture the memories. Willy, now 4 years old, toddled around happily, excited to be a part of the celebration. "Cheese!" he exclaimed, flashing a toothy grin as they snapped photos together. Rachel and Brian showered Suzy with praise, expressing their pride and admiration for her achievements. "You've worked so hard for this moment, Suzy, we couldn't be happier for you," Brian said, his voice filled with warmth and pride. As the festivities came to an end, Suzy joined Rachel and Brian for the journey back to their home. "Thank you for coming, Rachel, Brian, it means the world to me," Suzy expressed, feeling grateful for their unwavering support and love. Rachel smiled, her heart full as they walked together, ready to celebrate Suzy's graduation and the bright future that lay ahead. "We're always here for you, Suzy, congratulations again," she said, her voice filled with love and pride. As they arrived home, exhaustion weighed heavily on them after the long 3-hour journey from Suzy's college to their house. Each of them felt the fatigue seeping into their bones, longing for the comfort of their beds. "I think it's time for some much-needed rest," Rachel suggested with a tired smile, her eyes drooping with weariness. Suzy nodded in agreement, feeling the exhaustion settling in after the excitement of her graduation day. "I could definitely use some sleep," she admitted, stifling a yawn as she followed Rachel and Brian into the house. Brian let out a tired sigh, feeling the strain of the long drive on his muscles. "I'll make sure everything's locked up before I hit the hay," he said, his voice heavy with fatigue as he checked the doors and windows. Once inside, they each retreated to their respective rooms, eager to sink into the welcoming embrace of their beds. "Good night, everyone, sweet dreams," Rachel called out softly, her words carrying through the quiet house. Suzy echoed the sentiment, feeling grateful for the warmth and love surrounding her. "Good night, Rachel, Brian, thank you for everything," she said, her voice filled with appreciation as she closed her bedroom door. With a collective sigh of relief, they settled into bed, each enveloped in the comforting embrace of sleep. As they drifted off, they carried with them the memories of Suzy's graduation day, and the joy of celebrating her accomplishments together as a family. The next morning, Rachel busied herself in the kitchen, preparing breakfast for everyone. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and sizzling bacon filled the air, enticing Suzy out of bed. "Good morning, Suzy. Would you mind helping me with the eggs?" Rachel called out cheerfully, a smile lighting up her face as Suzy entered the kitchen. "Of course, Rachel, I'd love to help," Suzy replied, her voice filled with enthusiasm as she joined Rachel at the stove, eager to lend a hand. Meanwhile, in the living room, Brian found himself entertained by Willy's playful antics. "Daddy, look at me!" Willy exclaimed, his laughter filling the room as he performed a series of silly dance moves. Brian chuckled, his heart warmed by his son's infectious joy. "You're quite the dancer, Willy," he exclaimed, clapping along to the beat as they enjoyed their morning together. As they sat down for breakfast, Rachel and Brian shared some news with Suzy. "We have some good news and some not-so-good news to share," Rachel began, her tone a mix of excitement and apprehension. "What's the good news?" Suzy asked, curiosity piqued as she glanced between Rachel and Brian. "The good news is that Rachel got a promotion at work," Brian announced proudly, his eyes shining with pride for his wife's achievement. "That's wonderful, Rachel! Congratulations!" Suzy exclaimed, her smile genuine as she congratulated Rachel on her success. However, the mood shifted slightly as Rachel continued. "But with the promotion comes a new responsibility," she explained, her voice tinged with a hint of concern. Rachel went on to explain that she would need to go on a 6-month-long outstation assignment to set up a new branch for her company. "I'll be away from home for quite some time," Rachel admitted, feeling a pang of sadness at the thought of being away from her family for so long. Realizing the challenges of being away from Willy for an extended period, Rachel turned to Suzy for help. "Suzy, I know this is a lot to ask, but would you be willing to help take care of Willy while I'm away?" she asked, her voice filled with sincerity. Suzy hesitated for a moment, considering the request carefully. "Of course, Rachel, I'd be happy to help out," she replied, her heart touched by Rachel's trust in her. "Thank you, Suzy. Your help means the world to us," Rachel said, her gratitude evident in her warm smile as she thanked Suzy for her willingness to assist. With Suzy's agreement to become Willy's babysitter during Rachel's absence, they continued their breakfast with a newfound sense of relief and gratitude for the support they had in each other. As the anticipated day arrived, Rachel began packing her luggage bag for her 6-month-long outstation assignment. Brian reminded her to double-check and ensure that nothing was left behind. Rachel, Brian, Suzy and Willy all piled into the car, heading towards the airport to see Rachel off. "Are you sure you have everything, Rachel?" Brian asked, casting a quick glance at the bags in the trunk as they drove. Rachel nodded, her expression determined as she adjusted the strap of her carry-on bag. "I've made a list and checked it twice. I think we're all set," she replied, her voice tinged with a hint of excitement and nervousness. Arriving at the airport, they made their way to the check-in counter where Rachel prepared to embark on her journey. "Remember, Suzy, take good care of Willy while I'm away," Rachel said, turning to Suzy with a grateful smile. Suzy nodded, her eyes reflecting her determination to fulfill Rachel's request. "Don't worry, Rachel. I'll make sure Willy is safe and happy," she assured, her voice filled with sincerity. Brian also chimed in, his voice filled with concern for Rachel's well-being during her time away. "Take care of yourself, Rachel, and don't worry about us, we'll be fine," he said, reaching out to give her a reassuring hug. Rachel returned the hug, feeling a mix of emotions as she prepared to embark on her journey. "Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Suzy. I'll miss you both," she said, her voice choked with emotion as she bid farewell to her loved ones. With a final wave goodbye, Rachel made her way through security, her heart heavy with anticipation for the adventures that lay ahead. As she disappeared from view, Brian, Suzy and Willy watched her go, their thoughts filled with love and support for the journey she was about to undertake. As they embarked on the journey back home in the car, Suzy and Brian found themselves in a state of quietude, their usual banter subdued by Rachel's absence. The silence felt awkward, a palpable reminder of the void left by Rachel's departure. Suzy attempted to fill the void by engaging in playful interactions with Willy, her efforts evident as she tried to distract herself from the somber atmosphere. "Hey Willy, wanna play a game?" Suzy asked, her voice cheerful as she turned her attention to the young boy sitting beside her. Willy's eyes lit up with excitement, eager to participate in the game. Meanwhile, Brian focused on the road ahead, his mind preoccupied with thoughts of Rachel and her upcoming journey. He found solace in the familiar melodies emanating from the radio, allowing the music to provide a comforting backdrop to their journey. Lost in their own thoughts, Suzy and Brian navigated the journey home in relative silence, each grappling with the absence of Rachel's presence. To be continued.